what about if somebody's coming to you for advice? Do you think it's best to always be real and tell them exactly what you think? Or are there times when you're just like...
This one's hard.
Yeah, do whatever. See, because I'll tell you the way that I usually evaluate it. And because then I want to hear what you guys think. Because sometimes, like, the question's not super clear is why I'm giving an example. So if like an acquaintance asks me like, oh man, whether it's like, oh, I'm dating this girl, or I got this job, or I got, this personal problem. I think I should do this. What should I do? If I don't know him that well, I'm probably going to be like, whatever you think is best. It's like, what the fuck do I know about your life?
Especially with an acquaintance, because you don't know how they've previously acted or how it's affected them.
Yeah,
by
and you
their
might not
decisions.
even know the whole story, because if you're not close with them, there might be tons of details you don't get to see. Right. But if it's somebody that I'm super close to, I'm more inclined to be honest, even if it may hurt their feelings in the short term or be something they don't want to hear. Yeah. So, I'm curious what you guys think on that.
I think it just depends for me on the situation. Again, it's all like all these scenarios of like being fake nice and honest and being real is like, it just depends on the situation. Because if it's my sister, I'm going to be honest and real all at the same time. Yeah. And then, but also like fake nice. Like, I don't know, if I don't really like her shirt and I wouldn't wear it, but it looks great on her, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's such a cute shirt. Like, it looks great on you, but I could never wear it type of thing. But
yeah.
I don't know.
I am the same way. Well, with friends, I definitely would be straight up because that's what I would want. But ultimately, like what I've found, and that, like, even when friends in relationships, like they're going to do what they want to do regardless of what you tell them. And so you could give them the best advice you've ever given and really hype them up. But at the end of the day, like if they choose to do something different, like that's what they chose to do. And I think you can be an influence to a point, but ultimately it's like up to the person.
I agree. That's a very, how she said that. You put that beautifully. Thank you. Wow, you're so good with your words.
So it sounds like whether it's polite, fake nice, keeping it real, or being harshly honest, it sounds like and tell me if you guys agree, there's a lot of gray area. And it largely depends on a number of factors, like your relationship to that person, the stakes of the situation. Like if a close friend comes to you with and they're like, you know what, I have $50,000 in my savings account. I could either pay my student loans or I could invest in this cryptocurrency. It sounds like you would be really honest with them. But if an acquaintance comes up to you and says like, I got $10 and I kind of want a chicken sandwich, you're going to be like, okay, I mean, do whatever the fuck you want.
Right. Like either way, you're going to lose money. So, because you're probably going to spend it on something else down the road. So,
I like what you said about people are going to do what they're going to do. So would you say in that case, it is actually better to be forthcoming and honest so that no matter what they choose, at least you can be like, listen, I told them the truth at least.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I think that's why I would rather be honest and give the best advice that I could, because I can tell them, all rainbows and butterflies, but it's
either way, they're not going to listen to it. It's almost like the delivery about it too. Yeah, if like they not being like super rude,
right?
Like prefacing it with like, "Hey, I'm just going to be honest, and this is how I feel, and I don't want you. It might be offensive to you, but that's not how I'm meaning it to come across."
And I always like to say, like for any of my friends, if I'm talking to them about whatever, I always like to say, from a friend's perspective, this is what I'm thinking. And I tell them, like, seeing this as your friend, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I don't like personally. But like, this is on you. This is your problem. You're going to deal with it how you want. But this is how it affects me in my friend perspective. So
I like that, where the way you preface something, you can say the same thing, but it comes across two different ways. Like
100%. People are so receptive of tone. And
so, like if you're saying something like if somebody comes, I would say the most common one where people get touchy, like, is relationships. Like,
oh, for sure,
if a friend comes to me or like one of your friends comes to you, I actually think, not to make it a gender thing, I think girls are better at discussing relationship stuff with their friends. I know that, like, I've seen some guy friends of mine that are in really bad relationships and just won't talk about it, won't address it, but I feel like...
Same.
Well, and if you see it and you're like, yeah, that guy you're with is a shitty dude, he sucks, he's an asshole. But if you're like, from a friend's perspective, he is hurting you, he's doing A, B, and C, like, yeah, he is an asshole, and I think that, but like, it hurts to see like how this is happening as a friend. And I think it kind of helps them understand too, like, oh fuck, like people notice that I am hurting, or he is doing this, and like I thought maybe people weren't noticing, but like people see that shit, you know.
Yeah, it's more of like being empathetic than sympathetic, like trying to understand the perspective and problem rather than just trying to fix it. Like being sympathetic, you try to fix things and just like, you know, give your advice rather than, I don't know, give advice in more of like an understanding way.
Like come at it from a point of view of like, because I care about you, it worries me this way or that way. Like it sounds like you could say something like, instead of saying, oh, your significant other is a piece of shit and is treating you bad, now you're almost making it more adversarial, where that person feels, whether they mean it or not, they feel like they have to defend somebody that is closer to them that you're calling out. Where what if you were to frame it as in, it makes me worry about you when I see your significant other behave like this, and from my perspective, it affects you this way. Like normally you wouldn't do or say this, and because of their actions, it seems to me that you're doing or saying this. Is that true? And like making it more of a question, putting it on them. Like they have to say and admit that either no, it's not affecting me, and if they're lying, like they'll know it.
They'll know it, and it'll make them like,
more so
think
pointing
about
out to something that they maybe know deep down, and that they are a little too. It's like not like the self-awareness thing. Like it's hard to address. Like it's hard to see. What's that Bible verse? Not to make it like a biblical thing. It's like point out the, like before you point out the splinter in someone's eye, take the log out of your own or something like that. I think that is a really good one, because it's hard to, it's easy to like look at other people's relationships and be like, oh my God, like, you know, their partner's a piece of shit or they treat them terrible, whatever. But it's hard to see in your own situation.